Good morning, Greg here, burning both ends, burning on the front end of an awesome Friday. It is May 18th, 2018. I'm in Westport, Connecticut at my brother's house. It's a beautiful backyard. Love New England. Reminds me of where I grew up. I grew up in Pleasantville, New York, which is a suburb north of New York City. And so just being back here, just the smell, just the environment, love it. And so let's get in today's post. So last night I posted a video about belief in self versus drive, and that post came from a conversation I had with my brother last night at the Roxy Hotel. We were watching some live jazz and talking about business, talking about brand, talking about all these awesome things. And we got into belief in self and drive. And that led to this morning's topic, which is alignment versus agreement, and how critical these two components are in my experience, and understanding the difference between the two and when one is important and when the other is important, or I guess more important for that matter. And so in my experience, alignment is a powerful tool that enables action and success. All right, it leverages trust and empowers team members to be proactive in reaching objectives, right? And go out and they can just get into action and just crush it. Agreement can be troublesome. It can halt action, in my experience, by creating bottlenecks in the planning process. Because now we've come to a point now we all have to agree on something, and that can take a lot of effort and time, especially depending on how many people are in the room, things like that. And in my experience, the team's flow can just come to a standstill because we have to stop and agree. And thinking about team, thinking about when I'm part of someone else's team, right? I don't have to agree with everything that they say, but it's important that I'm in alignment with the vision and the overall objectives. That way, if my leader makes a decision that I don't agree with, I can still get behind everybody and push the team forward and get into action and reach our objectives, because I'm in alignment with the vision. So that's the subtle difference, is I don't have to agree, but it's important that I'm in alignment with what we're doing. So let's get into alignment a little more. So alignment, we share the vision, we share the objectives, but it's not so critical on how we, like the specific ways that we get there, as long as we're all moving in the same direction, right? So we can deviate on specifics, on small details, but still be moving the team forward and still be achieving our objectives. And in this environment, when we're in alignment, we're comfortable with team members going out and learning new things and bringing new things back to the team, because it's very easy for us to understand if those new things are in alignment with what we're doing or if they're not. It's a rather trivial process. And this supports open-mindedness, this supports creativity, it breeds learning, collaborations, it breeds innovation, risk-taking, all these really important things that in my experience are critical for success, for successful teams, companies, projects. We really want folks doing this. I want to be doing it. I want to trust my team members to go out and take risks and innovate and learn new things and bring it back to the team. That's how we all grow. So now let's talk about agreement a little bit. So agreement, this can be tough because we all need to have the same views on things, right? And this concept of groupthink can come in. And it can be very time consuming because it can just be a slow process, especially if we have a lot of people on the team, a lot of different opinions, and we need to somehow agree on something. And in my experience, needing to agree, it can breed closed-mindedness. It can breed the need to be right? Because if we all need to agree, someone has to be right about it, and everyone needs to see that point of view and agree with it, and that can just be tough. There can be a reluctance to learn, to go out and learn new things, because if I go out and learn something new and bring it back to the team, and then we go through some arduous process to agree on it, and then it gets thrown away, I'm not going to be so motivated to go out and learn new things. I'm going to kind of, last time I did that didn't go so well, didn't have a good reaction from the team, so I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm going to be reluctant to do it, or do it a lot less. And so now the team's not going to grow. And so this is, and keep in mind, this is my experience with these two concepts. This is not, the golden rule, but this is what I've seen, and what I've, where I've seen success, I've seen more alignment than agreement. So now let's talk about when we break these rules, because that's always a critical piece to this. So when do we break, when does agreement become a really critical, important thing? And in my experience, this is, safety, for example, is a very important thing that we all need to agree on. And specific aspects of safety. Like I was talking about radiation shielding drawings the other day. I work at where I work, we have accelerators. These accelerators produce radiation. This radiation can kill people. So we all need to be in agreement on radiation shielding, so that way people can live their lives and do these experiments and go home to their families. So we need to be in agreement on what the drawings look like, what the specific materials are, what the densities of the materials, the locations and placements of such materials. This is all very important, and we need to agree on it. There cannot be room for, interpretation on shielding. So I find that that's a place where, agreement is rather important. And then the other place are contracts, right? We've all, I'm not sure if we're all employed, then we've signed some kind of agreement. And so contracts are another place. And I'm not sure if you've been involved in a contract negotiation, especially with a larger company, but we need to be in agreement with this contract, right? It's written word, it's specific, we all need to agree on it, and that can be a very arduous, time-consuming, and expensive in time and money to create this contract that we all agree on. And so that's another place that I would say agreement is kind of at the top of the list. And I've linked down below here in the description and also in the outline this really good book called The Book of Agreement by Stuart Levine. So I've linked to it on Amazon. I would definitely check it out, highly recommend it. And then he has in that book, he presents the 10 essential elements to any agreement. I've also linked a little screenshot to what those 10 items are. I'm a huge fan of this book, a huge fan of these elements. I've used them many times to write an agreement. I've written agreements for myself as a subcontractor being hired. I've written them for subcontractors that I'm hiring. And I found this kind of happens sometimes when, when you're dealing with, when you're trying to collaborate, or when I'm trying to collaborate. And typically it's a small business and it comes time to make an agreement. I find that each party looks to the other to write the agreement, right? Because it can be kind of a difficult task. And so with these 10 essential elements and this book by Stuart Levine, it really streamlines the process. That way I understand that what I'm putting together, it's got all the critical elements for an agreement. Like, what if we disagree? What if we want to dissolve the agreement? Kind of the things that, that are tough to think about and tough to do, but important, right? Because I might come to a point where this project's not working for either of us anymore, and it doesn't make sense to keep going. And so how do we dissolve this agreement? And so definitely check out that book, and that way, when we all have a better understanding on what we need to agree on, it's going to streamline that arduous process, and I think that's just really important. So, alignment versus agreement. I think that these are very critical tools. Alignment, I think, really empowers teams to be successful. I think it empowers innovation, creativity, all these critical things, and I've seen that in my experiences. Oh yeah, and then there's one more thing, and it kind of back to the when is agreement so critical, and maybe the more important of the two, and engineering requirements documents as well. I find that those get very specific, and being in agreement on those can be very important. And that kind of lends itself or is a piece of the radiation shielding part there. So that's the post for today. Please subscribe, comment down below. I'd love to hear about your journey, what you're up to. If I can help in any way, I would love to help. I would love to be of service, so please ask for some help. I'll see what I can do. We're going to try to add beats to this video. We weren't able to last night, but we're going to add some beats to this one, hopefully. And yeah, there are some motivational videos linked in the description. Check them out, some of the inspiration that I get on a regular basis. And that's today's post. So go out, have an incredible Friday, and go out and inspire some folks. Talk soon.